Today I would like to compare two structurally different air handling units for you. As I told you, I am changing my approach to running the business. I'm changing it so that you get more and so that you get better, more practical solutions. Because I don't want to get lost like automotive companies did here in Europe. I want to compare an acid-resistant steel unit and an EPP unit. What is this all about? The acid-resistant central unit is hygienic. We can use it at higher temperatures and in greater humidity. The only drawback is water condensation, because with the acid-resistant steel units, you can never completely eliminate thermal bridges. There's a material connection here where we have insulation. Now let's have a look at EPP. Let's open it. Every connection here is one big insulation. Here's the exhaust, or rather the intake, if I'm not mistaken. Here's the exhaust. Perfect insulation everywhere. It's 4 centimeters here. And here we have acid-resistant steel. Inside it has 14 or 10 millimeters of rubber insulation, which we will also apply outside to insulate it further. But what is this all about? When you buy this unit, you'll have it for a lifetime. Nothing can go wrong here. You can replace the motor and filters. If the exchanger breaks, you can replace it. The controller can also be replaced. You can replace everything in this unit. Just as I said, it needs something like a small heater, because we get thermal bridges and water might condense here. This is a very hygienic, healthy unit, and it can operate at a temperature above 50 degrees. And why that temperature? Because all the materials, the polystyrene foam-like materials, whether it's EPS or EPP, start to release gas above 50 degrees. There was some research which quickly disappeared from the automotive market. It was in California, where cars heat up to as much as 75 degrees, which caused the concentrations of harmful carcinogens to be exceeded as much as 8 times. Remember, install it below 50 degrees, all will be well. But what is the basic difference? Here we have hygiene, durability, water can condense, so it has a flaw, but we can install it in temperatures of 60, 70, even 100 degrees. We can make it a pool unit. This unit, however, has excellent insulation. The wall thickness here is about 6 centimeters. There's plenty of material, but the units are like polystyrene foam. When you leave polystyrene foam outside, it gets some UV, a bit of air. You'll see that it shrinks, changes its properties. The same is true for EPP. After, say, 10 years, it also slightly changes its properties. If it's 2 centimeters, after 10 years, it will no longer be 2, but say 1.9 centimeters. I'm just guessing here that after 10 years, it might lose 5%. If the temperature is high and it oxidizes, it might lose as much as 15%. Remigenie de reducenizator. We can install these EPP units. Just so you know, EPP has been approved for use with food. It is used in thermoses. It's even been approved for medicine, for use in medical containers, to transport body parts. That's another use of EPP, with some bags or other things inserted inside. It is generally allowed for use because below 50 degrees it's fine. Nu așa ca cu bău. Remember, if you are buying this unit, no matter what company, always ask about the EPP thickness. Look, this flap is 6 centimeters. This is, let's say, the width of a hand, 4 of my fingers, let's say. Finger might be 2 centimeters. So here we have 6 centimeters, 3 fingers. But there are companies, and I won't comment on that because I don't want to ruin anyone's reputation, but maybe a word of warning for those companies.
If their cover has a thickness of 2 centimeters or
1.5 centimeters, I'll tell you one thing, don't buy that unit because the EPP might start leaking not even in 10 years but in 5 if you put it somewhere like an attic. When it starts working and the material begins to leak, it will be a disaster. Recently I came across a Chinese unit that was also made of EPP and it did not release gas. Why is that? Imagine you get into a cheaper Chinese vehicle, a loader, an excavator. It smells a lot like plastic, like chemicals. After manufacturing plastic EPP, it is placed in a chamber for 4, 5, 6 hours or even the whole day and heated to a temperature of, let's say, 80, 190, 70 degrees, depending on the material, so that all those dangerous compounds evaporate. And it also then changes its parameters, changes its size. It takes shape. And sometimes, for example, if we didn't install this flap on the unit and didn't leave them together to release gas, we might have a problem assembling it. These materials will release gas. Also, the thickness is 4 centimeters. It is okay. 3 is also okay. But if you were to buy something cheap, which has a thickness of, let's say, 1.5 centimeters, as some companies do, forget it, because in 5 years you will have a problem with the unit casing and there is nothing you can do about it. You'll have to dispose of it. And that is the basic difference in hygiene between these two units. Nothing is going to happen to this one. Of course, there might be condensation, thermal bridges. Here, water shouldn't condense. We have perfect insulation, perfect flow temperatures, but in high temperatures, carcinogens may evaporate. But in the attic, the temperature rarely exceeds 50 degrees in the summer. They have similar construction. We can replace the motor at any point. We can replace the exchanger. We can do everything with these units because they are like a Volkswagen. This unit will definitely last you a lifetime. Nothing will happen to it. This one, with a casing thickness of 6 or 4 centimeters, has a lifespan of 15 years. These are the basic differences if you have to choose between an acid-resistant steel unit and an EPP unit. We now have a lot of experience now, having produced our galvanized units. A lot depends on environmental conditions, because acid-resistant steel will be fine, but sometimes, say, 1 unit out of 1,000. If it has very poor environmental conditions and it's galvanized, sometimes after 10 or 15 years it will also have to be discarded, like with EPP. These are the two basic constructions I wanted to tell you about, so you know what to think about when choosing. As I said, an acid-resistant steel unit lasts a lifetime, but water might condense. These units last 15 to 20 years. We produce them for 15-20 years because we use a lot of EPP, so it's warm, solid, airtight, and so on. These are the basic differences I wanted to tell you about.
Ci dajtaj pichu numero think about if you're buying a unit for your home.
Unfortunately, no manufacturer will tell you about these differences. They will only focus on marketing. Just recently, I was at a trade fair for heating and cooling, and all the marketers said one thing. They couldn't even say what was in a given heat pump. They just always said that their pump is the best, better than the competition. They couldn't name the different features. And here you have it presented honestly. The advantages and disadvantages of EPP and the advantages and disadvantages of acid-resistant steel. Thank you.